What is going on? Roma 4, Cagliari 0. Nice win for the Giallorossi. 3 out of 3 for Daniele De Rossi as the boss of this team. Guys, what's going on? It's nice to see you. I'm Wayne Gerard. You know that. Let's do it. Oh man, I'm thrilled after today. Look, am I over the moon? It's Cagliari, right? But Roma are winning the games that they ought to be, the matches that they should be. And that's refreshing. I mean, throughout Roma's history, that's not always the case. It's not always that they are taking care of the little guys and getting 3 points and maximizing as much as they can. But I hope you're doing okay today. We've got Demir, Forza Roma, Forza Daniele for sure. We got to get the people on in here. We got 3. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you. And let's keep it pumping. 1 second. I'm gonna step away from my computer. I gotta turn off the baby monitor real quick. 1 sec. There we go. A little baby monitor's chirping. Plug back in. There we go. Yeah, I'll say my poor wife is trying to put the baby to sleep right now, and it's late in New York. It's after 8 p.m. If you got a kid, that's as good as midnight. But what are we doing? What are we doing today? We're looking at a team. I think one that is got to be. There we go. My mic switched. Got a little fuzzy. A team that's struggled this season. One that had problems putting the ball back into the ball back. Like, why does can doing on us when it's awful and the poor version not just get the ball not high as mean, but that's so ski the wing of issue just uh so Diogo sound good. Uh, I might see any here. No, what you're here, but it okay. I I think maybe could be but um, I can yeah, better at all? Let me know, Matt. How's that sounding now? Maybe it's too high. Maybe the gain's too low. Increase my overall volume on it though. Shouldn't be cutting out. Good now. Okay, cool. Thank you. What's up, Vincent? See you guys coming in. Yeah, let's break it down. We got 7 people in here. Matt's here. Vincent's here. Diogo, Damir. I'm gonna run it now. I'm gonna run it through. Let's see what we got. So it started right to left. Karsdorp, Mancini, Llorente, Angelino, number 69. Yes. Don't get that jersey. Don't do that to yourself. Don't be that guy. Let Angelino, let him be that guy. Because whatever he does in his free time, it's none of my business. You want to rock? You want to put in performances like today? Wear number 69, buddy. Cristante, Paredes, Pellegrini. I think the one thing surprising me into today was Paredes, I think, starting, or even Cristante starting over Bove. Because you look at the double anchor and it's like, can these two play together? I'm not totally sure about that. I do think Bove has a little bit more leg in him than the rest of the team, like the entire team. But I guess when you have that quality, Cristante and Paredes together, he was able to deploy them, and ultimately it worked. And I suppose that's the most important thing from this match. El Shaarawy, Lukaku, Dybala up top. I was glad to see El Shaarawy in that more true winger role as we've seen in the past from him. So more typical of the majority of his career. Under Jose, he was used more as like a fullback, and he made it work. He tried really hard, but I don't think that's like his overall best scenario. But anyway, Cagliari, what did Claudio Ranieri go with? Well, he left a couple interesting players on the bench, like Gaetano on loan from Napoli, number 10 Viola, but he starts with Yerry Mina at center back. And to his right was Dosena, who's been around the block for ages now, and Obert, a Slovenian player I'm not too familiar with, right to left in a 3-5-2, starting at the right wing back, Zappa, Nandez, the Uruguayan international, Prati, big defensive Italian midfielder here, young player, Makumbu, who was getting into it with the Giallorossi players, Azzi, Brazilian, out on the left, with a pretty interesting strike partnership here with Petagna and Lapadula. I'll bring this up real quick on your screen so you can see what it looks like for me. Lapadula, he had a history of being the former Serie B capocannoniere, and Petagna, who was at Napoli, failed to really become an important player. He was a rotational player, but he really wasn't even good with that. Does Ranieri have a chance to stay up in Serie A? I mean, he has okay players, but let's be honest. I mean, do you even recognize 65% of these players? I know Petagna, Nandez, Lapadula, Scoufet, yeah, younger keeper. Dos Santos, only because he's been around. Yerry Mina. But honestly, like the rest of this group, I'm not sure if he's really got what it takes to stay up. I'm not sure that he's been given a really fair chance. You get the manager that has won the Premier League, has kept numerous teams afloat, fighting relegation battles with Ranieri. But I don't really think it's a practical team. I don't think this is a team which is set up to stay in Serie A. I think if you were to face the majority of teams in the English Championship, they would steamroll this Cagliari side. Vincenzo is here. What a win. Yes, my friend. Okay, we're going to keep going by this play-by-play. I got to remove the share option, though, for copyright purposes. I'll be narrating as we go through it. Okay. So, yeah, 3-5-2, which isn't too typical of Ranieri. He was predicted to go with a 4-2-3-1 opening this one. This was sold out at the Stadio Olimpico. There was a lot of maybe not anxiousness. There was some pessimism surrounding Roma's attendance. Was it just down to Mourinho? And I was saying, kind of like, not really. Mourinho brought a lot of fans into the stadium. However, really, it has to do with the ticket prices, which were slashed by the freaking family. But 23rd second, Angelino plays in a really nice ball to El Shaarawy. It's one of the nicest balls out of the back that's been played from the left back or right back role the entire season. I think our buddy Enzo pointed that out on Twitter. He said something like it took 25 seconds to see the best lob or cross of the season from the defensive position. And yeah, Zappa, yeah, he's been around. He's like a fringe player. These guys are whatever. But I'm listening on the radio, so I'll give you, just to let you know how I was understanding this match. I was listening on Teleradio Stereo. Telestereo Radio? Teleradio Stereo. And it's like the first minute, right? It kicks off and immediately goal. And I'm like, yeah. Second goal. I get home. TV freezes. Third goal. I go upstairs. I come back downstairs. TV's frozen. Fourth goal. The app crashes again. You know what app I'm talking about too. I'm like, you have to be kidding me. So I actually didn't get to see any of the goals in real time. Oh, was I sharing that by accident? I hope not. No. Okay, we'll keep going here. So that comes in off the corner. Who was that? That's got to be Dybala. Yeah. and then that is put away by Pellegrini. Now 3 goals, a goal in each of his matches under De Rossi. You couldn't have really expected it to go any better for the captain. He seems to really have his head up at this time. His attitude has completely changed. He's so much more up for the match, just body language. I'm not in the locker room. I'm not watching the practices at Trigoria, but you could just see this is his 5th league goal of the season. And one thing I want to notice or make note of is that the players are celebrating together. They're not. It's not just one guy. It's not Mbappe who runs to the crowd and he's like, "Yeah, yeah, I did it, I did it." No, the boys celebrate together. I think that's so important for anybody. Maybe you coach kids. I think that's something to really stress to them. Is like when you score, don't be doing cartwheels, don't be doing this, don't be doing that. And sometimes I did that. We celebrated as kids, but whatever. I really think the most important thing is to go and celebrate with your teammates. 2.5 minutes in, Coyote do come close. I don't know. They get a corner kick and it goes just wide. That's number 4 there, defender. And oh, wow, look at that. Oh, I'm going to share this screen for you real quick. I got to show you this. Let me get a good view of it off the corner kick. There was a beautiful tribute. I missed this tifo actually throughout the match, but it's a thank you to Ranieri. I'm going to pause 1 second. Let me pull it up. There we go. Check this out, guys. Let me get a better view. Con la tua, with your Romanness, you have made us fall in love. Mr. Ranieri, one of us, for eternity. Amo Roma. Maybe that's a group. I'm not sure. It just means, love Roma. It's really cool. I'm gonna screenshot this one. That's excellent. What a good catch by the cameraman. That angle and everything is beautiful. I can't wait to put that one on Twitter. Okay, now I gotta remove you from seeing that. I'm gonna narrate. Guys, if you're just tuning in, we're going over the play-by-play. These are like the extended highlights. I'm just watching them as we go through. I mentioned before that my app crashed every single time on my Samsung TV. Paramount app is killing me. And for the first goal, I was listening on the radio. One thing that was interesting, and I was reading a report about it on The Athletic today, is how Inter was able to manipulate Juventus's defense. And how do they do that? Using wide center backs and pushing them wide here. One thing I noticed in around the 8th minute is how wide Cristante actually came. So he's providing some lateral dynamicism, I guess you could say, throughout Roma's midfield. Mancini, though, he's kind of like a regista center-back hybrid, if you will. He just loves playing the long ball. 8th minute, look at this. Angelino just played in a beautiful cross that I think it's Cristante, almost got on the end of. What a beautiful cross. It hits the post, and then Karsdorp puts it back into play. It gets headed out of the final third there, and the play is dead. But man, what vision Angelino has, man. Oh, Cristante pressing? This is super weird. Cristante, much more advanced role than I've seen him play in years. Then again, Angelino takes space in the center of the pitch, 18th minute. Passes and moves. He's trying to play a 1-2. He opens it for El Shaarawy. El Shaarawy then takes it himself from the top of the 18, cuts in. And I would say 1 out of 3 times, he is going to score that one. What is up, Enzo? Ciao, frate. Yes, big win. Enzo, thanks for that support on Twitter before. Appreciate you, man. So Enzo, I was just saying how many of the goals, actually every single one of the goals, I either listened to on the radio or I haven't seen yet because my app crashed. And I'm going through each of them, and I'm just shocked with the quality of Angelino. Okay, maybe he's not a defender, a true left back the way, like, I don't know, but he is. I would say he's a pretty good defensive left back guy who can put it across too. But what I'm seeing here, this young man is something special. Coyote then tried to play. Nandez puts the work on Cristante. He gets past him, and then he's running to the right, passes a no-look ball to the left. Nandez is smart. He is a player that I used to really like. I heard some things which are not so great about him, though. Some domestic things that I don't want to get into. But then it made me kind of think twice about what type of person he was. And that has to be considered too when you I don't want to say look up to, but admire certain players, right? But Hernandez's quality on the ball. Oh, this was strange. Rui plays it short to Karsdorp. That's missed. That ball is played into action. I wouldn't do this against better teams. And then it's played a few times around the box there. It's swung in, and it's defended pretty nicely by Mancini and then cleared out by Paredes up to Lukaku, who spreads it in a layoff. Roma are able to form a triangle really quickly to get themselves out of space. And it's Cristante once again, but getting much far forward than I would have presumed. And he plays it with his left foot out to El Shaarawy, who's streaking in on the top of the box, plays it to Pellegrini. This is 22nd minute now. And then Dybala scores. Oh, that's a beautiful arrangement there. That is an excellent play. I wasn't anticipating this, honestly. I totally forgot that Dybala scored 2 today. Man, what a play this is. Into Pellegrini, who makes a really nice little touch. Very smart of Lukaku to let that go. If you're not familiar with the setup I'm talking about here, I'm going to show it real quickly on the screen. Let's go Shift 6. It's this one right here. Yeah, that's great. That's super intelligent of him. And that says Cristante and Paredes is what Roma fundamentally need in midfield. I'm surprised right now. Honestly, I didn't think it was going to go this good for Roma. And I can put up the little banner there. Roma win, yes. And remember to subscribe. Which one's more important? I think Roma win. We'll keep that one up here. No, the subscription stuff. Okay, let me put you back here as I narrate this play-by-play. Yeah, it's a sweet one. And Dybala, I know he's going to get his second goal off a penalty, I read. Keep this going. That is Dybala's 7th league goal this season. I'm curious, does anybody know how much that Chiesa has? I don't, but I think it's like 3 or 4. I don't think it's anything like that. So it's been a great year. You know, whenever Dybala plays, man, he's undeniable. Then he plays in a through ball to Karsdorp. That one I saw live. Karsdorp can't connect on the end of it. Yeremina makes a good block, 36th minute. That goes out for a corner. Is this Huijsen's goal? I can't tell yet, but it's Dybala who tries to get a Tirajir off a give and go off of his own corner kick. Yeah, it's a decent play there. It's Angelino actually who took that and gets it to Dybala real quickly. A bit of a snapshot. He almost curls that in. It's really not that far off from La Jolla. 37th minute, Coyotes playing around with it in the back. It's very dangerous with this new look Roma, which is a bit more pressing in the final third. That ball is won by Mancini, who takes a much more advanced space. I got to rewind this. Hold on. That's a good play for Roma to make a turnover in the middle of the pitch here. Really nicely. I'm just going to watch it one more time. Yeah, Scuffet's crazy for doing that. They should have cleared it out. Cristante pressing much more as a trequartista in this one. That's won by Mancini. And then it's Cristante who plays a really nice ball into Pellegrini, who gets it to Lukaku, and it's disrupted. But Roma almost go up 3-0 here in less than 40 minutes. Coyotes scrambling. You could look at them. I think this. Ooh, Yeremina got hit pretty hard there. He deserved that too. He was playing like a you-know-what the entire match. And yeah, Paredes is laughing as he stuck him with that one. He deserved it, man. You know what? When you play like that, you got to expect it when it comes back to you. Because sometimes I'm feeling it. Sometimes I try to be a nice guy on the pitch. Sometimes I get stuck in, and then I get hit back. I get my butt beat on the pitch. Like right now, I have a huge welt on my shin, and I'm little. I'm 5'7", but like when you play like that, you gotta know that it's gonna come back around. It's just the type of play. Like that's what happens when you play like that. So yet he can't get too upset over it. 40th minute. That's not Zappa. That's their left back from Coyote. He plays that one in, and Petagna's complaining. He looks like a poor man's Gennaro Savastano, the way he's been not taking care of himself. Lukaku then scores, but with the new offside rule, it doesn't matter if the defender gets a touch or not. He does get a touch, but when that ball is played, Lukaku was offside. It's a decent finish, though. A lot of power behind it. and it stays 2-0. 42nd minute, Rui Patricio plays it out of the back to Angelino, who then plays it. He didn't have much of an angle there. Plays up to Pellegrini, who has really good balance on the ball, and over to El Shaarawy, who loses it. And this is where things go, I think, a little bit wrong, if I remember correctly. No, that's not what I'm thinking of, the penalty kick. That's a good shot. That's saved by Rui Patricio going into the 43rd minute there. It's the guy with the face mask. I forget who that is. Cagliari in the 43rd started playing a bit more pressure. They're trying to salvage the half. You don't want to go into the second half down by 2 goals. They do draw a free kick, or is it ruled a dive? I think it's ruled a dive, actually, and the ball's given to Roma. Karsdorp then has his shot blocked, which ends up back at the feet of the Cagliari player, back at Petagna, who is then brought down by Llorente, and it's given as a penalty kick. However, upon review by VAR, this is judged to have been actually a foul by the attacker. Let's keep going with this, right? Yeah, this is pretty good. I like this play-by-play. Tell me if you're getting bored, though, if you want me just to talk about other stuff. That's Lapadula with the face mask on there. And like I said, that one's going to be disallowed, so VAR does its job. And it stays 2-0, which I thought was really important, because the last thing you want to do is give them momentum going into the half. Early on in the second half, though, just 5 minutes in, there's a corner kick, and this is where Dybala gets his penalty kick off of. Looks to be a handball on number 52. Is that Petagna? It looks large like him. Yeah, I think so. And Dybala converts another penalty kick. Where's he going with this? I'm going to say top right, bottom right. Nice for him. Slots that really nicely, calm, cool. Does a little stutter step and slots it home. Nice. Then there's a substitution. Huijsen comes on for Llorente, Zalewski in for El Shaarawy. It's the move Roma needed. It's a good one by De Rossi. It's not too late in the match, the 55th minute. You're already up 3 goals. Why not make those changes? Let the players who have a lot more leg in them, give them a little bit extra rest. I think that's important. I was actually surprised to see Dybala stay on the pitch, but I think that's because he was trying to allow him to get his 3rd goal there, because it's Huijsen who then makes it 4-0 in the 59th minute. Dean, look at Roma doing the Lord's work, developing Juventus youth products. How nice Roma are. But let's take a look, guys. Keep the comments coming in. Keep the likes as well. And I appreciate your support. Let's share this here. 20 shots by Roma, 6 shots on goal. Cagliari just over half that. Possession in Roma's favor. Pass accuracy pretty good when you consider that it's 475 passes, which is an average amount. It's not crazy. Over 500 would be significant. Offsides a bunch by Roma, 5. So you can see that they're really trying to make things happen. 7 corners, applying that pressure. They win out of it, and that takes Roma to 5th. They jump over Bologna. But I do have to remind myself too, that Bologna have 1 game less, so Roma have a game in hand over them, as well as with Atalanta, who are 1 point away. But given that Atalanta tends to win, they have 12 wins, only 3 draws, and 7 losses. Odds are that they're going to win their next match. Statistically, they're going to be playing against Genoa, Sassuolo, Milan, Inter, Bologna, and Juventus. They have a really difficult schedule coming up. So keep an eye on that one. Let's go to Roma's schedule, though. Inter this Saturday, February 10th. I'm going to be watching that one from a plane. Yeah, from the plane. So the Wi-Fi better be pretty good, so I could tweet and do whatever. I'll probably be doing that live stream sometime later that night or Sunday morning, actually. Then it's Feyenoord in the Europa League, Frosinone. Let's forget about Europe right now. Torino, Frosinone, Inter. Those are the next 3 matches for Roma in opposite order. Then Mons, then Fiorentina, then Sassuolo, Lecce, and then the Derby. So that's a good run. If Roma can win 3/4 of these, I think they're going to be in the 4th spot. So that's something I think to really, really keep an eye on. As Vincent says here, Lazio's, let's look at who they've got going with. Let's click this real quick. Cagliari, okay. Next match, then Bologna, then Torino, and then Fiorentina, Milan. Not easy. And then Juventus. And then they actually have the Coppa Italia. That's going to wear them down a little bit before their match, before the Derby, where Roma is the home team. That's going to be sweet. And then they got Inter as well and Sassuolo before the season ends. It's not going to be easy for them. I like it. I think Roma has a heck of a chance to end up in the fourth spot. Now, I don't think it's official. Maybe you know if it's official yet. I don't think so. For the fifth spot, if that's coming over to Serie A or not, I think that there's still some things to be determined depending on how these teams, how it ends up for the season, as far as how many points that Italian teams accumulate in Europe. I could be wrong on that. That's just like off the top of my head, but I think I heard that. I'm going to run with that. Anyway, as we look at the standings, though, let's go back to Serie A real quick. Let's type that in. See what we're looking at. Standings. So back to 38 points. But that recent form, Roma has, out of the top 5 teams, they have strong recent form. It's equal to Juventus's, right? Yeah. 3 wins, a loss, and a draw. Milan's actually in pretty good form. And Inter, of course, is the best team, one of the best teams in Europe. Unfortunately, Roma has to play them next. Fiorentina have been stinking it up quite a bit. Napoli have a win. Kvaratskhelia scored a really nice goal this past weekend. And Bologna are in, honestly, what we would call mid-table form. So they're going to, I think, cool off in a big way. I can see them finish like 8th or 9th by season's end. I would be very surprised if they're able to get into the Europa League just because of depth. The season's long, injuries mount up. I would say Thiago Motta is extremely lucky that Joshua Zirkzee has stayed fit for the entire season. Dexter says move was really bad for the team. I've been really trying to not comment on Mourinho, and that's because like in the fallout of life after Jose, I couldn't make a comment on social media, Twitter, YouTube. I felt like I wasn't really allowed to speak because whenever I did have an opinion that wasn't even contrary, but that just tried to seem fair. And I know you can't focus on the 1, the 2, the 3, 4, 5% of people because 95% of is great, right? But it's that 5% of people like giving me problems on Twitter and calling me a clown and things like that. I'm like, yo, you know what? Like, get a life. Get a life. So I got tired of, I think, commenting about Mourinho just because I'm exhausted of being attacked. All right, let's see what these comments are like coming in. That goal probably made Dybala want to stay for at least another season, Vincenzo said. And Enzo said, sometimes football is a simple game. You put Zalewski in his natural role. You give Dybala freedom and less defensive responsibility. You let Cristante get up the pitch, and suddenly Roma is rolling. Joe says, he said, the moment I saw Angelino take his first touch, I knew it was going to be good. Yeah, that's one thing. You can never knock Spanish players. They always have the best touch. They're so clean on the ball. Like I live in a very Spanish area. A lot of people from Spain and Portugal. Is it genetic? Why do they have such good first touches? It's ridiculous. Anyway, Enzo also says there's more to it, but sometimes putting players on the position on the pitch they're comfortable being in allows them to express themselves and be more effective. He says, I made a tweet about De Rossi having the team play scrimmages in close quarters seemingly every day in practice. Not only is it fun, but it encourages quick decision-making and passing. For sure, that's like one of the best things you could do as a coach is let your boys play. Get them in 7v7s, 5v5s, 4v4s. I guess they call them rondos, but I was growing up, they called just like possession games. So that's like one of the best things I think you could do, really. And like Enzo points out here too, like let them have fun, let them move around and practice things and have a little bit of flair, and that can build confidence. And Angelo says, happy days are back again. Nice to see. What's up, Angelo? How are you? Enzo also says the team, this seems to have helped the team. They're a lot better at breaking out of tight areas. That's true, too. Yeah, you make a good point, Enzo. A lot of the angles that were played today, especially from deeper positions, we wouldn't have seen over the past several years. So they've definitely got a bit more confidence in them. They're taking more risks. It seems much more natural. There's an air about them, that's for sure. Joe says, I wonder how high Roma's defensive line is going to be versus Inter. I bet it's a little bit lower. You can't possibly go against Martinez, Lautaro, Barella, Mkhitaryan. You can these days, but that's not his role. Who else? DiMarco. You're not going to get away with playing a high line. So let's see what happens. And Angelo brings in an excellent point. What's another word for a point? Excellent example, excellent comment here that Roma are using the entire pitch. And it's true. Like, I love seeing the way Cristante played today. Mourinho was back. And we looked at that one. What was up with Paredes and Mina today? Quite a few words shared between the two. I think Paredes is that type of player. Like, he's not going to let his boys get pushed around. This is a World Cup winner. He's a confident player. And he's in his prime. He's not a boy anymore. He's not going to take any nonsense. So when he sees his guys trying, like Mina was trying to intimidate them. He's trying to chirp in their ear. He's trying to get under Lukaku's skin and take his edge off. That's the way he plays. It's not how I would teach my players or my kids. So that's where that comes from. What's up? What's up, Angelo? LB, what's up? Says Mourinho played terrorist football and his rabid fan base acts like terrorist to fans. So refreshing to have this squad loving themselves and playing amazingly. Team breathing better now. Yeah. And definitely LB and I agree with Enzo here. Confident, Vincent says that Roma can get more points from the next game against Inter. I'm hoping. I hope for a win, but I would be overjoyed with a draw. It's not many times I'll say that, but I would say against any team aside from Inter, I definitely want to win, and I'm like kind of disappointed with anything less. But against this squad, man, they're so deep. Çalhanoğlu, Pavard, Bastoni, Acerbi, they've got great players. This is a team who could move. And so this is a lot of people that are preying on De Rossi's downfall, saying Inter is the real test. A bit unfair to say when you're going up against one of the best sides in Europe. Yeah, Inter is not the quote-unquote real test. I think that's way too much to put on him. Inter's squad is above Roma's. They've invested so much more. In every aspect, this team has had more consistency throughout their back line. They've been able to just plug a few players in and build upon what they have. This is a team that went to the Champions League final last season. You're going to go on and tell me that, like, oh, they're nothing if they can't beat Inter. That's nonsense. We've already seen a massive turnaround in the attitude, the body language, the confidence, the overall play than we had before. That's apparent. Roma should win these games, but you know what? The first two games of the season, Roma didn't, and that was against Hellas Verona and Salernitana. And then there was a match against Genoa where Roma got pounded, an unacceptable result. So let's think about that for a second. No, to go back on this, I'm not going to leave this topic just yet. Inter's not the real test. I'll be more than happy if they show the right attitude. They play with guts the way they have the past three games. They go out there and they leave it all out on the field. That's what I'll be content with. He's looked like this to me the past couple games. He puts himself in the right position, but as far as working for the team, he seems to have cooled off quite a bit. I'm interested to see what Roma does going forward this summer. I know Chelsea's going to try and offload him due to financial fair play. They're going to want something probably around 30 million euros. It's not an investment I would make for Lukaku, especially when you add in his salary, so amortized. That would be a big deal, especially because the tax incentive is going away. If you divide a 4-year deal for Lukaku at 30 million, let's say it's 25, and you pay him 7.5 per year times 4, that's 30, plus 25, that's 55. What's 55 divided by 4? I'm going to do that math real quick. That's 13.75 million euros per year that Roma would have to amortize. And I think that's a little too much for this team. I think that the resources can be handled a little bit better, and I would not want to see them overcommit themselves for Lukaku. As you can probably imagine who the people that are saying that are. We'll leave it there. Yeah. You know which camp that's coming from.
Vincent says Inter's squad is better, but we have a great squad and we're capable of beating them, especially because Roma's at home. I agree. I agree, man. Yeah, like if you're gonna talk about amortizing, right? Would it not make more sense to get a player like Xerxes? Look, I know that's crazy. Now we're talking like fantasy here, but let's say Roma did pay 40 million. So what were we at? We were at 13.75 to amortize Lukaku over 4 years, right? Let's say you get Xerxes for 40 and you pay him 6 a year on a 5 year contract. 6 times 5 is 30 plus 40, that's 70. 70 by 5 is 14. So if you sign Xerxes to that type of deal, you're at just $250,000 more to amortize per year. That's how you get it done. All right, guys, just a few more, and then we're going to sign off here. So a lot of hands in the air by Lukaku, almost like Dzeko in his last years. So think about that when we're talking about the amortized. That's the really big deal here. Is when you look at these numbers, you got to break it all down like an account, especially with financial fair play, and see if Roma can get away with that. Ciao Ali. He says it's been a while since he made it to a live. Just finished work. Nice to see you, my friend. Taye Roma. Angelo says, I want to see a Roma Inter game like what we saw in 2010, beating Mourinho and company. Bro, yeah, those were good games, man. Like for 5 years, Inter and Roma would just duke it out constantly. Why not buy Osmond instead and hope Tammy has a resurgence? Maybe that's a great call. That's a really interesting point that Vincent brings up here. Roma now undefeated in their last 14 matches at home. Something to think about this week. And good stat there. And, that's a really nice one. Could get Rategui with the Totti connection. He hasn't been great, but coming back from injury, if Roma do have to sell Tammy, I like Rategui a lot. That's a great call as well. I think he's got that fox in the boxness about him. Italian international. He seems to have settled into Italy pretty nicely. He's established a pretty decent connection with Albert Sigmansson from Genoa that Fiorentina tried to get. I think that kid's a dynamo. I love him. He's not really a kid though. He's 26. To remember there. All right, guys. Let me know what you think about the episode. Any advice you have too. I'm always open to hearing what you think. Let me know what you think about the game. Don't forget to comment, send all that good stuff. Much love to you and your family. I hope you have a great rest of the week. And I'll be back probably like on probably Wednesday. I'll have like an Inter preview up and we'll chat about that. We'll see what things look like. It might be in a short, it might be a little bit shorter because I'll be in Utah, but we'll take it from there, guys. Grande. Thank you. You too, bro. Ciao, ciao, guys. Thanks.